Bricks and Minifigs is your one-stop shop for all things LEGO. Hit the link below to find a store near you.
Hi, Simon Cohen, and I am the designer of these automatons here. So starting first, we have this adventurers-inspired Dr. Kilroy digging up the cursed mummy, and as you can see, he's digging and digging, and the mummy doesn't like being disturbed. It's working off of two different cam mechanisms, one of which controls the position of the digger, and at a certain point, there's a weight that falls, which is connected to this string here, and that pulls him back. And there's another cam that's timed to pull the skeleton up right beforehand. So that's how that works.
Looks like you've got some rubber bands used in there as well.
Yeah, the rubber bands are to help reset the archaeologist after he's pulled back to get back into his original position. And there's an interesting mechanism used that when he falls back, the way that he stops digging is there's a chain of gears that loses its, one of its, the gears in its gear train. And that's what caused him to stop digging. But when he gets back, the gears are reconnected, and that's how that works.
And then how'd you design the mummy portion here?
The headdress is I took inspiration from like I said, the adventurers theme, the yellow and the blue, and just try to piece something together at this scale, and this is what I landed on.
Perfect. What do you have next then?
So up next we have Oblivious. This was the first model I built. So the scene starts with a shark fin going by to an oblivious, beachgoer reading his newspaper, and he looks up, sees nothing, then gets back to his paper. And this one is timed off of a chain link mechanism that has wider treads at different intervals on the chain. And that's what triggers a sequence of motion that those wider chains will trigger something to cause that.
Nice.
And up next is this fortune teller woman in her wagon, and she's waving her arms hypnotically over her crystal ball with the contents changing. And I have a few different ones in there. There's a heart, there's a gold piece, a plant, a bird. I don't know, just random small things that people can, read into whatever they want, I guess.
The arm movement is really interesting here on this one.
That one I just got, I was just playing around trying to figure out how to do something. I'm kind of cheating a little bit because her arms are like triple jointed in her shoulders. Her shoulders aren't really supposed to move like that, but that's like the best way to get that effect.
And then how did you kind of build the sort of carriage around that?
I guess my imagination, I looked at some images of these kind of wagons, and the roofs are usually done differently a little bit, but I kind of go by the rule that I'm going to try and make it look good for LEGO. And so these pieces just kind of made it easy for me. Those blue roof pieces, I think those come in like a Star Wars set, those corner pieces. And I just thought it fit the color scheme. So just took a little creative liberty there, and then did some gold trim on the wagon to style it a little bit.
Fantastic. What do we have next then?
So this one, inspired by one of the opening scenes in Aladdin, where there's Abu in the marketplace trying to steal some food. Although in the movie he was actually successful, but here the merchant swipes the bananas away at just the last second when he spots him, and the monkey retreats for his next attempt. And this one has an interesting mechanism where I've basically programmed the timing of the body and the head of the merchant to be in sync for 3 back and forth movements. And then using this programming, I can get them out of sync, have him swipe the bananas away when he spots him, and then it resets, and then they're in sync again.
Yeah, that is super fun, and I love how colorful it is with all the foods you've included here as well, and like little details in the background.
Thanks. Yeah, he's kind of like a half fruit stand, half, antiques, and maybe some contraband in the back. He's just trying to make a living, so whatever he can get his hands on. I guess he's selling.
And what do we have next then?
So up next, this is the accordion guy. Just a guy chilling with his musical dog, playing the accordion, probably somewhere in France or something like that. The idea just kind of came into my head, and thought I'd make a cute little scene. And yeah, people seem to like this one. It's cute, I guess.
Yeah. I think one thing that makes this so fun is just how many different types of movement you have, from the foot to the head to the dog's tail, and then the accordion itself. There's so much going on.
Yeah. Some of the other ones, there's less happening at a time. This one definitely catches the eye, and people are just amazed at how much is happening at once.
How did you design the accordion and the figure there to kind of work together like that?
Lots of trial and error, trying to find a mechanism where I can have like an expanding accordion, and just after a number of different tries, I landed on this. I tend to do everything in studio first, other than some mechanisms that I need to understand how it works, and that just gives me the flexibility to use pieces I don't have and get everything shaped and colored right, and then I'll order all the pieces.
Yeah. And even the bench itself is a really nice element in this build, even though it's not moving, but it looks very nice.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
And then what's the final build we have here?
So final build is a little bit meta. It's a mime doing the "Help, I'm trapped in a box," only he is trapped in a box. So it's kind of like the boy who cried wolf. We don't know if he's actually in need of help, or maybe he's just miming. So it's just a cute little joke.
Mm-hmm. And what's the mechanism like underneath there?
The mechanism it's kind of like a see for yourself, but there's I forget what it's called, a gear turntable that's being powered, and run through the center of it is an axle that's connected to another lift arm that creates that back and forth motion. So you get the back and forth motion, and the entire base is also being spun. So relative to that spinning base, you also have this back and forth motion, and that's how you take that axle that's going just sideways. And if you look in his back, I kept it exposed. You could see the bevel gears that get that side to side with the head motion, and that just works perfectly for that effect.
Yeah. This is such a fun variety of builds you've got here. What do you use to power these? What is that system like that kind of keeps all these running?
I am terrible with electronics. I design them all to be run by hand crank, and to put the motors on it is always a last minute thing for me. Luckily, I have help from my friend Taylor, he's done a lot of also kinetic models, and he's DIY'd a lot of power cables and stuff to give a lot of these motors extra juice that the Lego battery boxes wouldn't give them, and that helps to run a whole big setup like this.
Yeah. Okay, well that's very nice. And then when you start with these types of builds, what is that sort of planning process like? You said you do some of these in studio, but then how do you start to kind of figure it out in your mind, all the different movement and how that's going to work together?
Yeah, so for me the process really goes where I'll start with a theme or a scene that I want to do, and then figure out what movement would look good in that scene. But yeah, like I said, the process, I tend to use studio just to get the aesthetics looking good. And then as for the mechanisms, sorry, I'm just going to put this back on. As for the mechanisms, oh, never mind. He lost his thing. He can't go very long without just getting scared to death. The mechanisms, I've studied a lot of other builders' designs. JK Brickworks, Tony Flow 76 on YouTube. I've spoken to Tony Flow a lot about his designs, and his instructions are available through Planet GBC. And so I built some of those. I learned a lot of techniques from there. And various other YouTube videos about mechanics and things like that, and that has given me the tools to be able to have an idea and then make it come to life.
Do you find it's easy to fall into a trap of going too ambitious, of just I'm going to have this moving and this thing, and then this will do this, and then it's that's really too much to incorporate? Or how do you kind of balance that out?
Yeah, all the time that happens. Well, I shouldn't say all the time. It happened in one specific build where I realized that if something is not clicking and I haven't made progress in a while, I have to abandon it. So that's happened on 2 builds, I think, where I had a grand scale with a stage and an opening curtain and two different magicians that looked like he escaped from something. And with the way that I was going about it, it wasn't really feasible. So I had to abandon that. I might revisit it at some point and try some other techniques at it, but yeah, I've shelved that one for now.
And for people who want to see more of your work online, where are you most active? Where can they check that out?
Primarily on YouTube under Big Stack Bricks. I'm also on Instagram. I need to build that up a little bit more, but primarily on YouTube.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm glad you were able to bring all these builds out to the show here, and it's really fun to see the mechanisms and just the humor and the mechanical side of all this. So keep up the great work.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys taking a look.